Welcome. Today's project's all about the question, am I going crazy? Suffering from anxiety, in my past, I felt every day like I was going crazy. I was losing my mind. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't concentrate on work. I couldn't concentrate on reading a book, a magazine article. I couldn't concentrate on a TV show. I couldn't concentrate on anything. And I felt like I was losing my mind. I was going crazy, whether I was taking the subway to work, whether I was driving a car, whether I was just sitting at home. I could just feel like I was losing my mind. I couldn't get a grip over my thoughts. My thoughts were just going crazy. They were racing. So in this video, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why you feel this way and what you can do to counteract this feeling and get to a better place in your life. Well, let's look at the associations related to this feeling. Well, you might feel lightheaded. You might feel dizzy. You might feel like you're losing your balance, like the world is shifting under your feet. You can't really seem to get control over your feet. And I remember being in public places and this happening where, I feel like I'm just like losing my balance, like I couldn't walk straight. So I would focus all of my energy on my feet, just trying to walk properly. And so that was one of the symptoms I was experiencing, and poor concentration, poor focus. Like I said before, not like having trouble reading a book, magazine article, paying attention to the words someone was saying to me, whether I was having a conversation with somebody or listening to the radio. I just couldn't seem to absorb the information and then remember the information, and that made me feel like I was losing my mind. Also, being tired all the time, it made me feel like I was losing my mind. So I was sensitive to the world around me. And many people who come to me for coaching, they always talk about how sensitive they are. And I was that guy. I was sensitive to billboards. If there was a billboard related to a health concern, I was sensitive towards it. I was sensitive towards TV shows. If there were doctors on the TV show, I would be sensitive towards it. Whether it was blood, violence, I was sensitive to it. I was sensitive to that because I was sensitive to my health. I was sensitive to my health every day. It could have been a movie where there's blood, violence. I was sensitive to music, aggressive music, punk rock music. So I'd start to listen to classical music just so I could just feel calm, right? I was just too heightened all day long. Also, words people were saying to me. If I was in a conversation with somebody and they mentioned a disease, I would be sensitive towards it. Or it could be I'm sitting at the coffee shop and there's a conversation behind me and they're talking about somebody in the hospital, and I would perk up and be like, oh my God, are they okay? What if that happens to me? And I would be oversensitive towards that. Now, let's get into why we feel and why you feel like you're going crazy. Well, you're stuck in stress mode. You're stuck in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And this fight, flight, or freeze mode stems directly from the amygdala. That's the part of the brain that initiates this. And anxiety sufferers are stuck in this stress mode. They're stuck every day, highly sensitive, because they're in stress mode. Now, stress mode causes a lot of bodily sensations. They cause body pains, body aches, dizziness, lightheadedness, loss of balance, right? Fogginess, and they can be overwhelming. And anxiety sufferers tend to misinterpret these sensations And I did. I misinterpreted the dizziness, the poor concentration, to going crazy, to losing my mind. And why do you really feel like that? Well, the amygdala takes over all other brain processes. So you have the rational mind, and then you have the the amygdala, the stress response. And when the stress response is active, it takes over the rational mind and all other parts of the mind, and you're stuck sensitized. You're stuck in fight or flight mode. Your body's preparing itself because it's perceived something in the environment as being life threatening. So now you're stuck in this mode. And so it's perceived something in its environment as being life threatening. But what could it be? You can't really pinpoint it. You're just stuck like this every day. It's like your new normal, feeling this way. Well, there's parts of you that are stuck in the past. And for me, I had a lot of traumatic, highly emotional experiences in my past. So parts of me were still holding on to those traumatic moments because I fully didn't understand them yet. Because when you go through a traumatic moment, you don't understand it. You're stepping into the unknown territory. You're in the unknown. Chaos just emerged from the depths. You experience it, and then, like most people, you push it down into your unconscious mind. You repress it. And so you continue to live your life, but then you start to experience anxiety. You start to experience, sensitivity to the world, your health, and you don't know why. Well, there are certain experiences from your past that you have not understood yet. You have not learned the lesson yet. You have to learn that lesson. You have to unpack those experiences, release them from the body so that you can start to live a more neutral lifestyle. You have to learn the lesson, and then you release it from the body, and then you can continue on and face the new challenges that come your way better. Okay, so when I was highly sensitive, when I was experiencing these symptoms, I would avoid places. I would avoid social situations. I would avoid the mall. I would avoid going to work. I would spend all my time in my safe zone, my home. That was my safe zone. That's the domain of the familiar, the known territory. Now, I would keep conversations short because I didn't want to engage in conversations. I just wanted to get the heck out of there. I didn't want to talk. I wanted to just focus on my sensations. So then I would go and Google my sensations and see if I was really going crazy. And I would go to the doctors a lot. And these were all the habits I would do to support my anxious identity, right? Because I was confused. I was in this unfamiliar territory. I was stuck in the unknown, right? So that brings me to how can we get to a better place in our lives? Well, the first thing is to learn about it. You're here watching this video to learn, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I so sensitive? You're here to learn, so learn as much as you can. Watch these videos every day. Listen to my podcast every day. Take notes every day. And start to implement a routine. That's the second one, the routine. Implement a routine every day. Having a morning and night routine helps provide order to the chaos. You're in chaos right now. Now let's provide order to that. So a routine does that. It provides a structure. Anxiety sufferers don't have a structure. They're rushing around doing things, quickly. They don't have a structure. So adding this structure to your day-to-day life will help you kind of calm down, kind of get yourself back into familiar territory, the place of the known, right? That's a great way to handle the chaos. Now, going into acceptance mode is another one. Going into acceptance mode is something I did, and I found it worked wonders. Um, Going into acceptance mode is just feeling the sensations, just accepting it, not fighting it, because remember what I said, the amygdala takes over, and we can't seem to control our thoughts when the amygdala takes over. So why fight it? Just calm down and not calm down, but I mean go into acceptance mode. Just sit with these sensations, feel them in your body. And that's why mindful meditation works so well. It gets you familiar with your body, and it doesn't attach those labels to those sensations. The label of what if this is heart disease? What if this is kidney disease? What if this is cancer? It doesn't attach those labels, right? It kind of loosens your grip over those labels, and you kind of go into acceptance mode. You just sit with it, and then you start to get familiar with your body. Okay, and so I talked about routine, replacement habits. So replacing old habits like TV, watching movies, with meditation, maybe even reading, um, uh, walking, spending time in nature, time with yourself. These are replacement habits. Eating a salad rather than that hamburger, right? So replacing old habits gradually with new and powerful habits. This starts to calm down your system, and the more I spent time with myself when I was suffering, the better I felt. I felt more comfortable with myself. I felt like I wasn't so dependent on other people. That's the main thing, right? Not feeling so dependent on the doctor, dependent on Google, dependent on your loved ones for that reassurance, but being with yourself and getting comfortable with those sensations. And then lastly, I want to talk about reframing. So, reframing is going back to the original traumatic event that you haven't really learned the lessons from, and looking at the event from a different perspective. And you can do this by sitting with yourself and closing your eyes, getting comfortable, and going back to the original event and going through the event from the beginning till end and recognizing the feelings and emotions that come up, and then going back to the beginning and then going through the event the way you want it to go. And then at the end of that, just think about all the lessons you learned. The you that you are now, going going back to the original event and explaining to yourself, what are the lessons that I learned from that traumatic event? And give your old self a hug, give your old self their favorite foods, comfort them, because remember what I said, there's a part of you that hasn't learned that lesson, right? We're still holding on to that repressed traumatic memory. So let's unpack it, and this is a great way to do that. And just sitting with yourself, going through the event, then going through the event the way you want it to go, comforting your old self, sending that old you your healing color to heal them, to rejuvenate them, and then letting that memory traumatic event go, and then coming back. And I do this in a more deep manner with my clients. I go through this exercise with them, reframing traumatic moments, and so many of them tell me, Brad, like when it's over, as soon as they're done, they say, Brad, I feel lighter. I feel good. I feel different. I feel like there's been a weight lifted off my shoulders. And then I'm like, yeah, of course. You've been holding on to this for so long. It's been a burden to you. And it changes them. It changes who you are. And the more you do this to each emotional event from your past, the lighter you feel. You're tackling things from a unconscious level. That's where all of these memories and traumatic moments, highly emotional memories, are stored. They're in your unconscious mind. And that's how you get to them. And that's where I'm going to leave you on today's video. Thank you so much for being here with me. And remember, do not let anxiety define who you are. I will see you on the next video. Bye for now. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be the first to know. Namaste.